Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into your Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. I can't believe we're already 4 days into August. I'm going to keep saying it because it feels like summer came and flew by so quickly. Now, we've got a great show in store for you. If you're someone who struggles with eczema, well, then we're going to chat with a fantastic doctor on some tips and tricks that you can do to take care of your eczema. Then we're going to introduce you to Craft Lake City. So for all of those crafty people out there, this is a great expo to go participate in and to get to buy some handmade with love products. We've got so much taking place on the show and we're excited to share all of that with you. But first, let's take a look at that local weather forecast. Are you a DIY crafty person? Well, then Craft Lake City is the perfect place for you to go to get your hands on some homemade crafts and be inspired to do some great things of your own at home. Now, we had the opportunity to chat with the incredible team behind Craft Lake City and hear what they have to say about the upcoming event. So mark your calendars and let's hear what they have to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 16th annual Craft Lake City DIY Fest is just around the corner. And if you're looking for something to do with your entire family, we have Executive Director of Craft Lake City, Angela H. Brown, joining us this morning to give us all the details. Angela, thank you so much for being with us today. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing so good.
Absolutely. It's such an exciting event coming up for you guys here just in a few weeks. August 9th is when it all kicks off at the DIY Fest. And we're going to be talking about all the details today. But before we get into that, Angela, what is Craft Lake City and what do you all do? Give us a little bit of the work that you guys do. Angela, I think you froze on us.
I did, but I'm back. Thank you.
Apologies. No worries. Nick, do you want to take that from the top or just re-ask? Okay. Angela, we're going to do that from the top again, if you don't mind.
Let's do it
just
from the
so
top.
We can, yeah. And hopefully we'll be good. Okay. Take two.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 16th annual Craft Lake City DIY Fest is just around the corner. And if you're looking for something for the entire family to enjoy before summer ends, we have Executive Director of Craft Lake City joining us this morning. Angela H. Brown is with us. Angela, thank you so much for being with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so well, and thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to be in Park City TV.
Yeah, thank you for being with us and sharing a little bit about what's all happening at the DIY Fest, which is coming up in a few days. Before we get into that, Angela, talk to us a little bit about Craft Lake City. What is it? What do you guys do? And kind of share with us a little bit of your work.
Yes, thank you for asking. So Craft Lake City, we are a 501c3 nonprofit corporation here in Utah, and our mission is to educate, empower, promote local artisans through science, technology, and art. And one of the ways that we do that is through this big 3-day affair. It's a really large event, 20,000 people over 3 days,
wow.
over 350 artisans. We've got 2 stages with over 50 performers. We've got a science and technology building, just so many wonderful, wonderful things, a kids area. It's a 3-day event, and we'd love to see you there this weekend at the Utah State Fair Park.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be such a fun time. And I love that you all kind of combine art with STEM or technology and science, because I feel like, at least for me growing up, traditionally those two things kind of always used to live separate. It was always kind of like the STEM wing and then the art wing at school. So bringing these two together, I think is a fantastic idea. And as you mentioned, you guys are having your DIY Fest on August 9th, right? That's when it all kicks off. Tell us a little bit about the details and what we can expect, because you said there's lots of people, lots of artisans. What else can we expect this year?
Thank you. And the DIY festival, do it yourself, right?
Yes.
That's what the acronym stands for,
Yes.
is really about creative empowerment. So we really want to empower the community to come, really get inspired by what they see, the people they meet, so that they can become creators and makers themselves and really get part of the creative community here in Utah. And as you mentioned, our STEM building is science and technology. We believe that individuals that are in those fields use the same creativity that artisans use or performers use in their fields. And so it's just really fun to get people together, get them excited about how they can create whatever practice that is, whether that's in science and tech, whether it's in music or visual art.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Angela, walk me through kind of, so are people going to be able to buy art? Are they kind of going to be able to browse around? I know there's going to be activities, there's going to be entertainment. So kind of walk me through, when we get there, what's it all going to be like?
Oh, yes. And, there's something to do all 3 days. So as I mentioned, there's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes.
Friday, we kick off with our VIP area, which from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., we've got really incredible bands playing. We have over 15 craft foodies with Utah's Own, which is a kind of an arm of the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
So they celebrate farmers and local food makers. So you can actually meet them on Friday.
Wow.
Of course, we have our kids area all 3 days with face painting. We've got some local nonprofit partners offering free crafts for the kids in there.
Yeah.
On Saturday, actually, we have a really fun youth entrepreneur program called Kid Row. And that's a pop-up market from 12 to 4 inside of the DIY festival, where youth 18 and under sell their handmade wares. So that's going to be really fun. You're definitely not going to want to miss that. And then on Sunday, inside of that science and technology building, we actually have our handmade video games as well. So these are local creators and makers that make video games, and they've kind of handmade it with science and tech tools.
Yeah. Wow, lots happening over the weekend. It all kicks off Friday, August 9th, and it goes through the 11th. So if you want to bring the entire family out to the DIY Fest at the Utah State Fair Park, you don't want to miss it out. Angela, I love that you mentioned the Kid Row, which is on Saturday, as you mentioned, because I think kids are so creative, and what better way to support young entrepreneurs than through like an event like this.
It's so true. And, this is really fun. We have over 50 of them that will be there. And this is a program that actually we kind of partner with Utah schools. We go in the after school programs and teach them how to become creators and makers. And then they can actually apply to be part of Kid Row and sell their wares. We're really excited too, because we're applying for funding right now where we can go into the public libraries and also offer this education to any child. So stay following on our social media, Craft Lake City, as well as our website, craftlakecity.com. to see when that program launches. We're just waiting for the funding for that.
Wow, I love that. I love supporting young entrepreneurs. Our youth are really the future of our country when it comes to anything, but I think especially when it comes to art and sciences. So much creativity and so much just so many cool things out there when it comes to the youth. So I love that you guys are doing that. Angela, is this a free event? Is it a ticketed event? Where can folks go to get tickets? I know you mentioned the VIP option as well, so talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, so we are a nonprofit, as I mentioned, and one of the ways that we kind of fund the organization year-round is through this big event. So it is a ticketed event. Tickets are $13 in advance. You can get those at 24tix.com or $15 each day. That being said, children, 12 and under are free. And so, we really want to make it affordable. And there's just so much value for that ticket price. Everything is included in that ticket price, with the exception of VIP. That's a little bit more. That's around $30 in advance, $35 day of. But that does include, the sampling of all of the Utah's Own farmers and craft foodies, as well as we have got some local brewers and distillers offering craft beer and craft cocktails.
Well, there you have it. And you can also visit the website craftlakecity.com for more details on all the things happening at Craft Lake City. And of course, the DIY Fest, which is again happening August 9th through the 11th at the Utah State Fair Park. Angela, what are you most looking forward to this year?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm actually looking forward to a brand new thing that we're doing on Saturday night, which is called DIY Fest After Dark. And this is actually where we're staying open until 10 p.m. and having some louder local bands perform on our stages. So the market itself with all of the artisans in the STEM building will close at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And then those that want to stay for a little bit more of a rowdy, fun local music experience can stay until 10 p.m. And this is something brand new that we're just doing to kind of prototype and also to celebrate some of our louder local musicians.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how that goes and to, just kind of have a fun Saturday night.
That sounds like a great time. DIY after hours. If you want to, come enjoy some of that louder music, have some fun after dark, then you don't want to miss it out. Angela, anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Yes, I just want to thank you all for being such great partners and for doing such wonderful coverage of our Utah community. And we really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Angela. It's been a pleasure talking to you a little bit about the DIY Fest, and we wish you the best of luck. It's going to be a huge event, and we are all looking forward to it here. And thank you for sharing with us a little bit about what's happening this year.
Thank you, and we'll see you at the Utah State Fair Park for the Craft Lake City Annual DIY Festival, August 9th, 10th, and 11th.
There you have it, folks. August 9th, 10th, and 11th. Don't miss out the DIY Fest. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be back with more of the show after this, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Very great job.
Are you someone who struggles with eczema? The dry climate with those warm temperatures can really exacerbate that. Well, we had the opportunity to chat with Dr. Adam Friedman on some great tips and tricks on how you can take care of your eczema. So let's hear what he has to say.
A very special guest joining us right now. This is a very big award-winning Dr. Adam Friedman. Did you guys know that 9.6 American kids have eczema, and then twice as many adults have it here in America? Hi, how are you?
Great, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm very happy to have you here. And we all are really, really interested in learning a little bit more about something that many of us don't deal with, but would like to learn about because kids come up with it and everything else. Now, we only have one set of skin on our bodies and we got to take care of it. Now, eczema is a big deal, especially during summer with all the activities, the heat, the different like humidity factors and all of that. They really do take a part and they play in people's issues. So how do we deal with that, and why are we having you here today so we can learn a lot of good stuff, right?
Yeah, no, thank you. That's a great tee up because to your point, atopic dermatitis, which is the most common form of eczema, affects millions upon millions of Americans and is extraordinarily disabling and destructive to one's quality of life, but also to one's skin. Now, this condition can look like a lot of different things across the spectrum of whether it be gender or age or even skin tones, but one unifying feature remains, which is a unique itch. And it's an itch that feels amazing to scratch, but not so amazing because that scratching makes the condition worse. And this condition, once again, being it looks like a lot of different things, can appear pink or red or purple with flaking or oozing or even blistering, and it can occur anywhere on the body. And that's why I'm here today, partnering with Arcutis to raise awareness, given how common it is, but also to talk about how we can manage it and get people feeling better in their own skin.
That's amazing, and I didn't realize how many people struggle with this. I get a mosquito bite and I scratch it and I go crazy. So I can't even imagine how uncomfortable this has to be for people. I understand that flare-ups occur with different situations, and what can we do to recognize it? You know, like for parents who have children and they start seeing these new things on their skin, what do they look for a flare-up, and how can they work on that when they do see something? Like, what's the first steps for a mom or a dad to take when they see the children with some kind of flare-up on their skin?
Yeah, no, that's a great question because, first off, this is a year-round thing. There's some who do better during certain months of the year, but in general, both winter and the summer can influence this condition.
Oh, winter.
In the summer, the physical heat as well as the sweating from said heat can irritate the skin and cause a flare-up, but also all the products we need to use to protect ourselves from the sun, from bugs, those two, especially on already inflamed skin, can make that worse. Now, to your point about what can a parent do when they start seeing possible signs of that flaky, red, and of course, itchy rash, and you'll see those signs of scratching, especially on a kid, which will be maybe lines of broken skin or maybe in a little crusted or scabby lesions. First and foremost is being very purposeful with bathing. So you want to think about what soap you're using, mild soaps if at all, but when the skin's flaring, no soap. Even the mildest soaps can be irritating. But most importantly, moisturizer to damp skin. It's not putting a moisturizer in dry skin that'll do the trick. You have to lock that moisture in there to really normalize the skin and help repair itself. Now, the great news for those parents and beyond is that we now have a litany of FDA-approved medications, both topical as well as ones you can take from the inside out to really target the underpinnings of disease to get these patients feeling better. The most recent one being Zoryve or roflumilast 0.15% cream.
Okay, and that's very interesting because I'm one of those people that puts lotion on while I'm still damp from the shower, and I never knew why. But now
Perfect.
I've learned that that's kind of a good thing. I love that we have you on here today. This is really great. So weather does affect the eczema as well as temperature and everything else. So I'm guessing in the wintertime, because you're all bundled up and you sweat underneath, that can have an effect as well. Is that correct?
It absolutely can, but also think about the dry, cold wind, and then when you're inside, the dry heat. Those will further dry the skin out. And someone with eczema, their armor, their skin barrier is dysfunctional, letting things get in. And we know these individuals have a higher risk for skin infections, but also water can get out. And so all those things you mentioned and more can absolutely worsen this condition regardless of the time of year, which is why it's so important to have a regimen that we use over time to keep it under control.
That's so amazing that you have. I'm so glad that you're here because we have this interesting group locally on social media, and it's for moms. And I don't know why I'm on it, but I like to look. And there's moms that post photos of flare-ups on their kids' skin saying, "What is this?" So this is great information for everybody because not everybody understands what to do when they see something like that. And sadly, not everybody has the means to rush their kids over to a doctor every time they see something like this. However, with something as important as eczema, considering we have so many millions of people that struggle with it, this is something that somebody should run and see a doctor immediately when they see something of this form, correct?
Yeah, I agree. This is one of those conditions that the sooner we intervene, the better. In fact, there's data showing that, especially for those who are at higher risk, meaning there's a family history of eczema or asthma, really being aggressive early on with those things I mentioned, like moisturizer to damp skin, minimizing soap use, can really limit the severity of disease. But even more importantly, those things aren't often enough. And that's where FDA-approved therapies are so hugely important. And that's where a board-certified dermatologist can really help out.
I love that information. Now, I have another question for you. Are people born with this, or can people develop it over time throughout their lives?
I'll go for either, all the above. So we do see this start very early on. However, of those adults who have atopic dermatitis being a chronic disease, anywhere from 15 to 20% can develop it as an adult.
Wow.
So this really does not discriminate across the spectrum of ages and beyond. So there's lots of opportunity for things to go wrong, but of course, opportunities to really make a difference using FDA-approved therapies to intervene and change that course.
I see. And as an adult, how would we know that we are developing eczema in our older years? Because the kids, they don't know what's going on, it just pops up. But
Sure.
How do we notice it coming on for ourselves so we can go get treatment?
Yeah, I think a good rule of thumb, if you develop a new rash that does not resolve with over-the-counter measures or is persisting longer than a couple weeks, it's great to go see a board-certified dermatologist or dermatology team to really assess, because the diagnosis of atopic dermatitis is a clinical one. There's no one thing that really tells us, oh, this is definitely the condition. So that's where really getting the help you deserve with a board-certified practitioner is of the utmost importance, because then they can direct you in terms of what you can expect down the road, but also get you on a treatment regimen that can include something like, for example, Zoryve or roflumilast 0.15% cream to really control those flares over time.
I can't tell you how much I'm appreciative of you being here with us, Dr. Friedman. This is Adam Friedman, a very big deal. I think you're a big deal. You've won awards. You have so many different accolades, and I could go on. It would take an hour to talk about. So we know you're an expert, so we appreciate all of your advice and information on eczema. We only have one body. Let's take care of it and love our skin that we are in. Thank you very much for being here. It's Dr. Adam Friedman, and take care of yourselves, everybody, and be sure you listen to all of these great tips from Dr. Friedman.
thank you so much for tuning into your Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. We love getting to be here to bring you all of this great community information and get you inspired to get out there and participate in some great events, as well as take care of your skin. So make sure you listen to Dr. Adam Friedman with all those great eczema tips and tricks. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow for your Monday morning edition of Wasatch Weekends. I'll be your host, Maddie Evans, and I'll see you there.